Okay, this is going to be the sixth and final part of the breakdown of this production. So what it is the post Abu Dhabi 2021 show by Formula One themselves, presented by Will Buxton, the guy on the left, Jolyon Palmer in the middle, Jack Aitken on the right. I've showed you 5 parts of it first. I've broken them down into the manner which they've totally skirted the reality of the crux of the matter, what caused the complete change of where that title was heading. They've interviewed drivers, they've never tackled the truth of the matter. That's all shown in the first 5 parts. So we're now 50 minutes into the hour and 6 minute long presentation that they do. I've not seen this before, but we'll go through it and we'll pick out the bullshit that they're going to continue to flood your opinions with. All right, so let's see how we get going.
Well, there we go. Thanks for that, Sam. So ultimately, they're looking at the process by which the cars were let.
Great adverts.
Oh,
Indeed. What a load of
Is
shit.
going to be is really unknown. This championship battle is no longer being fought out on the racetrack. It's being fought out in the building behind me, and the resolution to who wins this world championship is far from settled. Back to you, Will.
Okay, so that was their analyst. That's the analyst that we've got to cut to give us all the technical information. Thanks for that insight. Anyway.
Well, there we go. Thanks for that, Sam. So ultimately, they're looking at the process by which the cars were let through behind the safety car and whether that was done in the right manner or not. We thought this championship might end in acrimony. It appears to be.
Well, I'm assuming this is referring to the fact that sort of the cars in between Lewis and...
Right, so 51 minutes, 19 seconds into an hour and 6 minutes, and now we're addressing it, yeah? And this guy, Jolyon Palmer, is assuming something, yeah? Oh, I'm assuming. Let's see what he assumes.
Well, I'm assuming this is referring to the fact that sort of the cars in between Lewis and Max overtook the safety car and a lot of others didn't. It was done really late, wasn't it? Just a lap and a half, so they...
Right, don't assume, because when you make an assumption, you make an ass out of you and umption, okay? That is not the crux of the problem, dickhead. Yes, it's breaking the rules. Yes, it is breaking the rules because what you've done by leaving 3 cars in place, you've blocked off Carlos Sainz in third from challenging for second because you've left 2 cars in the way, which means when he crosses the start-finish line on the resumption, he's the length of 2 cars back plus the space in between, which is a time difference of about 2 seconds between him and Verstappen, whereas Verstappen can be half a second behind Hamilton. That's not fair sporting chance, is it? You've also left Schumacher back there, in between Bottas and Tsunoda. That's not fair sporting chance, is it? That's not fair. I can't even speak properly. It's not fair sporting chance to those 3 competitors that are held back and not allowed to challenge for a top 10 position because you released 5. So that's breaking the rules. But that's not the crux of the problem. That's not what changed the outcome of the championship. The bit was that once you released those lapped cars, which was done on lap 57, which was the earliest it could be done, that safety car has to stay on track for a further lap. That's in the regulations. That's mandatory. And if that safety car stays on track for a further lap, that race ends behind the safety car. There can be no changes in position. Lewis Hamilton is an 8-time world champion. So don't start assuming, oh, I assume it's just the 5 out of the 8's the problem. Fucking liar.
We're nowhere near catching the back of the field. They don't have to catch the back of the pack, but they've got to clear enough distance, which they...
Lies, lies, lies. They have given the lap of the safety car to give them the opportunity. Now, the way these things work is if, for example, those cars, the lapped cars, are released close to the start of the lap that they are released on, they get the rest of that lap plus the further lap of the safety car. And often that's enough for them to catch the back of the pack. Okay, if they get released later on in that lap, then just the one additional lap is not always enough for them to reach the back of the pack. That is when the race director uses his discretion. And that discretion is, have they caught to within the time that they previously were behind? So, prior to Latifi crashing, Norris was 12 seconds behind Gasly. Having released Norris now, is he within 12 seconds? If he is, let's go racing. He's not been massively disadvantaged by this. He's still closer to the car in front of him. We've fulfilled the requirement of the regulation. We can go racing at this point. That's what the regulation is. If he's outside of the 12 seconds, if he's further back than he previously was, the race director uses his discretion on the grounds of sporting fairness, and he keeps that safety car on track and makes it do a further lap to enable those released cars the full chance of catching the back of the pack. Massey knows that. Massey did that in Spain 2019, in Brazil 2019, in Sakir 2020, in Eiffel 2020. 4 occasions where Massey's released the cars on a given lap. He's kept the safety car on track for that mandatory lap beyond the lap of release. And then he's kept it out for a further lap. That is not getting cars out of the way. That is ensuring those correct restart conditions are met. Stop fucking lying. I detest liars, you dirty bastard.
They did because they weren't in sight at the end. It was a really messy situation with the whole cars can't come through, then cars can come through. And it's the mess that's created this confusion and possibly...
Mess, confusion, messy. It's all difficult. It's difficult to understand, isn't it? No, I've just clearly explained it. But you, the presented expert being the former driver, the man with knowledge here to educate the audience, you can't tell us, can you? You can't tell us, can you?
Possibly this investigation now. It should have been, I think, a little bit more clear cut, like it always is with a safety car. Lap cars can overtake. There was obviously the time to do it. And that was, for me, the obvious situation that should have happened.
Obviously the time to do it. So, obviously the time to do it. Again, what have you explained there? You're making the viewer believe, well, what were they pissing around at? There was obviously the time to do it. What is the process? The process is the cars bunch, the track gets cleared, it gets made safe. Once it's been declared safe, then you do the unlapping procedure. That track was not safe until the end of lap 56. It was probably halfway around 57 where the clerk of the course declared it safe. It was probably around about turn 6 or the approach to turn 6 where the clerk of the course finally declared that track safe for overtake. Well, safe. That is the length of time. That means lap 57 is the earliest point that order can be given to those cars, which means lap 58 is a safety car lap. It's very, very clear, but you can't explain it, or you won't explain it that way, because you're paid not to explain it that way.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, there's always a very clear process to avoid this kind of problem, isn't there? And it seems that process wasn't followed to the T. It is obviously extenuating circumstances.
It wasn't followed to the T, and by not following to the T, what does it produce? Produces a corrupt outcome. That outcome is you've separated out 2 competitors. to race off for a win in a multi-competitor event, and you're not allowed to do that. You did so knowing one was significantly advantaged. That's called fixing an outcome. That's called manipulating a result.
We have seen lap cars let through very late, as it was in this case. The only reason that would have been is to allow the marshals a clear piece of track so that they could have had as much time as possible to clear away Latifi's car. The problem was that first message where they said lap cars will not be allowed through.
I don't think that's happened.
That wasn't the problem. That is a clear instruction. Well, it's not. It's a problem because it's not an official message. Okay, the message that's official is overtaking will not be permitted. And the reason you won't permit overtaking is because it's not safe to overtake. Lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake is a made-up message they made there to divert your attention, to disorientate you, because it means nothing. I keep telling you this. Lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake. Okay, does that mean that if you've not been lapped, you are allowed to overtake? Well, that's not in the rules and regulations, is it? Okay, but you're saying, well, that was the problem. Well, it's not the problem, because if the track's not safe to overtake, then you don't overtake, you don't release lap cars, do you? So it's not the problem.
Happened for like 10 years,
No.
where lap cars, because it used to be the rule that lap cars were just in the mix. In the mix, it was a bit frustrating for the neutral.
He just said it. It's been 10 years like this. Unbelievable. Somebody's actually said they've had this rule for 10 years. Finally, a bit of honesty.
Will not be allowed through.
I don't think that's happened for like 10 years,
No.
where lap cars, because it used to be the rule that lap cars were just in the mix. In the mix, it was a bit frustrating for the neutral trying to watch the race, and then because of that, they made the rule that lap cars can go round, join the back of the pack.
It wasn't frustrating for the neutral that they made the rule. There became the realisation of the impact that was having, and therefore, when this is a sport which has evolved its rules and processes over time to try and make itself more appealing to the viewer, and so you can see the choices that they've made to do that, and partly the evolution has been for entertainment, but it's still got to be grounded in the context of sport and sporting fairness. And what they'll have realised is what we've done here, by keeping lapped cars in situ, we've skewed the outcome for these competitors. We have deprived some of these competitors of their ability to compete in this race just because another car, there's been a safety concern, and therefore we've effectively ruined the chances of some of the competitors in this event. So in this event, imagine that this had taken place 10 laps earlier. Okay, imagine that this had taken place 10 laps earlier. And with 10 laps to go, well, no, actually, at the point in time Latifi crashes, there were 5. So with 15 laps to go, Lando Norris is 12 seconds behind Gasly. He was only 12 seconds behind Gasly because he'd suffered a puncture and had to go and pit, but he was actually a faster car than Gasly. So he's now catching Gasly, you'd think. Okay, so 15 laps to go. Although he's 12 seconds behind Gasly, Norris is in with the chance of catching Gasly, and then maybe Tsunoda, and then maybe Bottas, right? And who knows what else could happen? What if anybody else had a mechanical failure? What if Lando Norris could still get on the podium? Safety car, somebody's crashed. And so rather than be 12 seconds behind Gasly, who was in front of him, Norris is now a lap behind. Now we're starting racing again. Norris is dropped off a lap. You can't have that. That wasn't Norris's fault. You can't leave him now a lap behind Gasly. Right? So you can't manufacture one lap and leave him a lap behind Gasly. That's the purpose of the rules. It's not about, oh, yeah, but the neutrals found that a bit frustrating. Bullshit.
And it sort of gave everyone a better spectacle and a nice end to the race, or restart.
A spectacle and a nice end. You like your happy ending, don't you?
It hasn't happened for a very long time, so it was a real surprise.
Can they not?
Because it's not allowed, because they amended the regulations so that it can't be allowed. It's not an option.
just allow, I mean, going forward, it's something that's always been debated. Can you just...
Right. Let's not go forward yet. Right. This is the immediate aftermath of a corrupt event. Let's not talk about going forward. Right. Let's deal with the corruption here and now.
let the cars drop back rather than have to catch a lap up, just actually drop back through the field?
No, you're doing a brundle now, aren't you? You're showing your ignorance, okay? Your corrupt ignorance. As I've said before, if you drop them back a lap, what does that do? That puts them that lap behind. If you say, oh, well, we'll pretend that they've not lost that lap and that they're still on the lap just to speed up the restart, that skews it. That skews it because they've not had to complete that lap distance, that 3.5 miles or whatever it might be, which means they've not had to use the fuel that would be used in 3.5 miles, the rubber wear off their tyres that would be worn off in 3.5 miles, which means on the restart, they're more advantaged that they can push. You can't leave them a lap behind. You can't allow them to lose a lap, and you can't say, well, we'll pretend that they've not lost a lap, but just put them back anyway. They have to cover the same distance. Otherwise, you've skewed it. It's about sporting fairness to every single competitor in the event. Don't come up with this hypothetical bullshit, because what you're doing, you are talking to an audience that doesn't understand this. They don't understand the implications, but they'll go, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. That would be a way of getting them out of the way, wouldn't it? Yeah, good idea. They're fucking retards. They don't understand. A lot of these people, they just... Remember when you were back at school and you're in a class full of kids, and there were kids in that class that just didn't get shit, right? When they become adults, they've still got that same capacity, right? They've still got that cognitive ability of them retards back in your class at school, right? So don't all of a sudden think that they're capable adults with the ability to critically analyse shit, right? They're still thick as fuck. And this is the population that we live in. Don't assume just because somebody's grown up a few years, they've developed this fucking great mind. You are just dumbing this down because you know just how thick your audience is, and you can convince them of any old bullshit.
It's been debated a long time. Sebastian Vettel is the pioneer of this debate.
Yeah.
Even when I was racing 5 years ago, Seb was saying that in all the meetings. I think it's to do with the transponder.
Seb was saying that they should drop back. Well, what do you know, Seb? What do you know? Can you explain it in the way I just have? Can you come out with them implications? Do you understand them implications, Seb? Or, you know, you want to get your beehives out and paint your curbs yellow and black, Seb, right? But can you really tell us, can you drill down to the sporting implications of dropping cars back? And this prick's going to go, oh, I think it's to do with the transponders. And people go, oh, yeah, it could be to do with the transponders, couldn't it? Jolyon's telling us it could be to do with the transponders, so that would be the reason why it wouldn't work. What a load of bollocks.
Transponders, and they're having to recalibrate them for losing a lap. I assume there's a...
Yeah. Oh, recalibrating transponders for losing a lap. What the fuck are you on about, mate? Absolutely ridiculous.
way to do it, and it would be way quicker, way easier. But I don't think the actual sort of practicality of them doing it was such a big issue here, because they ended up doing it anyway. They could have, I think, let them go a lap earlier, because it looked like Latifi's car.
You think, are you the clerk of the course? Is it your job? Is your neck on the line if one of those marshals gets injured or killed by a Formula One car coming around there thinking that it's a clear track, therefore taking what would be their normal racing line that those marshals were stood on, sweeping the track? Yeah? Are you the clerk of the course that's responsible for that? But you think that that's what could have happened, do you?
I was off the road, so you just sort of crack on.
Let me know what you think in the comments section, you fucking prick.
But there was the delay and the hesitancy, maybe because the FIA were, so wary of the impact their decision here could make. So it's a tough one for them. But
well, you know what? When you are administering a sport and refereeing a sport, what you do, you referee the sport. You don't think about what outcome you are generating with the decisions you are making. You apply the rules of the sport to every given situation. Oh, yeah, but if I give them a penalty here, then they could win the World Cup. So do I give them a penalty or not? That's not what your thought process should be. Have I just seen a foul? Is that in the penalty area? Yes, it's a foul. Yes, it's in the penalty area. That's a penalty. Oh, yeah, but that would mean that they would win the World Cup. Shall I give them that penalty or not? See where we're going with this? That's called manipulating the result. That's corrupt. That's wrong.
It was a strange decision, I think, the first one.
Should we hear from the world champion?
Let's do it.
For now,
Yay.
it's Max Verstappen.
Max, Formula One world champion, how does that sound?
Yeah, pretty crazy, especially how the whole race went. I mean, it was a bit of a roller coaster, of course, you know, from not really having a chance of winning to the last lap where everything comes together and you have to go for it, and we did. So, yeah, incredible. I mean,
everything comes together. Yeah, I used to love the A-Team. I love it when a plan comes together.
insane emotions as well. Trent, I lost my voice already, so I think a few people.
Yeah, it's all that whooping and hollering, celebrating a fake win. Emotional.
In the garage as well. I haven't even seen.
Gonna fast forward the bullshit.
I mean, at turn one to the virtual safety car didn't turn out. The hard tyres did give you the gap. Were you thinking it just wasn't going to happen?
Of course, it looked like it, but in my mind, it's like I'm just gonna try everything I can. I'm gonna push till the end. You know, just keep trying and not give them a big advantage at least. And basically, that also
That's it. You keep looking down, Max, because you fucking know.
gave us then the opportunity to do that stop all the time because I didn't have the pressure from behind, and that at the end put me on the softer compound.
And then when you had that one lap shootout, what was going through your mind?
Well, of course you want to try and pass him, but I had a massive cramp in my calf, so in my throttle leg.
What a load of bollocks.
So all the time on the straights when I was going flat out and when I actually went for the move, I had a massive cramp. So I was actually happy in turn 5 there was a braking zone so I could come off throttle. But then of course I was in front, and then the whole straight, you know, you have this massive cramp and your muscle is just like clamping on and getting worse.
Yeah, it makes you weave all over the track when you've got a massive cramp in your muscle, doesn't it?
And worse. I've had it before, but it's not a nice feeling, but a chance like this you just have to bite through it.
Well, congratulations.
Poor old Max.
Just finally, Checo, what a massive job he did for you today.
Insane. Because of Checo today, I won the championship as well.
Congratulations, enjoy your party.
Well, Max.
Wasn't because of Checo, it's because of the entire show. F1 TV, Sky Sports F1, the FIA, Red Bull, and every other team that just went along with it.
Nice to hear Max give a lot of praise there
Oh, we've got our hats on now. How jolly of everybody.
to Sergio Perez. He has driven outstandingly this year, hasn't he? All the way through the year.
He's driven outstandingly for actually more than just this year as well.
Somebody else that's had a great season and deserved it.
For many years, he's shown the potential of this, but he's now got a winning car and he's delivered. He's made very, very few mistakes. He's been aggressive, but he's made very, very few mistakes. And it's hard to say out of this one, either way, we were going to have a deserved winner because they've both been epically good.
Do we need to very quickly?
Deserve. Let's go through every sport that we've ever watched and tell me who's the deserving winner of every sport you've ever watched. Would that be the person that won it validly, or the one that they did well, so they deserve to have the rules broken so that they got gifted it? Is that deserving? Is it? I've never heard the word deserved used more in a sporting kind of victory. Never seen it. Never heard it. Because you don't need to use the word deserve when people just win. You've just won there. Well done. You played the other team off the park. You won. Or, you know what? You didn't. You were under the cosh all game, but you nicked the goal. Well done. You lost 1-0, but you deserved to win. Well, you didn't, because you didn't score and you conceded one. So you didn't deserve to win everything. Yeah, you got 90% possession, but you conceded a goal and you didn't score one. So what do you deserve? You don't deserve it. You accomplish it.
I think we should look at the flashpoints that he's had this year. Is that an element of his racecraft that he needs to amend, that he needs to work on, or is that part of what makes him so strong?
He's been quite clear all the way through the year, hasn't he? Especially the second half when he was coming under increasing pressure for those flashpoints, that he wasn't going to change his style. And actually,
Just
as
in
a
the
driver,
background, sorry, mate.
And he's got away with not changing that style. It's been allowed. It's been facilitated. What's in the background? Let's have a look.
We've got Red Bull and Mercedes both leaving the stewards as we speak. Sorry, very serious stuff going on while we're not looking entirely serious with our Christmas hats on. Sorry, mate, you were saying?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, as a driver, to change your style is actually probably one of the most dangerous things that you can do. You know, it's probably better for...
No, it's not. Again, we've got a child telling us that as a driver, to change your style, it's a dangerous thing. What the fuck are you talking about, mate? What's dangerous is driving a car at speed and aiming it towards another car and making them either move out of the way or risk being run into. That's the dangerous part. Changing your style to not do that is not dangerous. You fucking dickhead.
For Max to be confident in what he's doing and just carry on in that way and just make the best of it rather than try and adjust to what other people were asking of him.
Did you ever...
No. That comes down to the sport to stamp out improper conduct. Now, the most dangerous thing about football is if you've got a lad that runs around the pitch just hoofing people, it would be dangerous to ask him to change the way he played football. Okay, so he needs to keep on playing that way, and the sport needs to let him do that. Yeah, that's right.
Race him in karting?
No, I was fortunate enough not to.
Because everyone that did says he was notoriously like this even back then.
I raced him.
Yeah, he rammed you off the track. And if you did anything about it, his old man would then kick your old man's head in. Apparently that's what he used to do. That's what the stories say. I mean, I've got no experience of this. I wasn't there. But that's a story again. But who do you believe? Do you believe the press? Because I don't believe the press. But one of the stories circulating was that's what Jos Verstappen did. He beat up somebody at a karting track. Now, what was that all about?
In the first,
you've raced him. You're the man to talk.
Was
he ruthless with you, Will?
I was awful. No, it was so. It was his first open wheel championship in Florida Winter Series in 2014, and it was an open data championship. So you had debriefs at the end of every day, and you had overlays of everyone's lap charts. And I was obviously rubbish, but Max was getting up everyone's noses already, and he was just out of karts, first open wheel championship, and you're looking at guys like Dennis Van der Laar and Raffaele Marcello who had been in F3 and were experienced, Nicholas Latifi who had the experience. Max was playing with them, sitting on their rear wing like you're doing, like in karts, just sitting, waiting. Already had the Verstappen defence down, sitting in the middle of the track so that he could just move one way, move the other really quickly to close them off. He was
dangerous.
He was annoying people from then.
Because he doesn't really...
Okay, so if you're annoying your fellow competitors, are you doing it the right way? There's conventions in sport, and in motorsport there needs to be conventions. There needs to be that respect for your fellow competitor. You're doing something that's dangerous, and you need to be able to trust the actions of those around you. And you need to be able to accept certain things. There are points in times where you need to accept, my opponent has got me here and I need to yield. I cannot just continue on defending or attacking to the death, because there are grave consequences if things go wrong. That is something that needs to be learned. It needs to be conditioned to the kids. This is the implications of this sport.
He doesn't really care what anyone else thinks.
No.
He just does his own thing. His own thing is maximum aggression, and everyone now knows it as well. So,
and it's not okay. But what you're doing, you're facilitating it. You're projecting, well, this is okay, this is the new normal. And the kids, they fucking love it. They're excited about it. It gets the kids hard watching Max like that. Yeah, Super Max. No. It's fucked up. Right? You drive like that, somebody is going to get damaged or hurt. You're not allowed to do it. You're going to get kids in the lower formulas trying to replicate that. And you don't have them racing up against Lewis Hamilton that can see it coming and will get themselves out of the way of it. No, there'll be some poor unsuspecting kid that's going to lose his legs as a result of a prick like that, driving like that. It is not okay.
So you've got to pick your fight with Max, because you know that he's not about to back out, and even before this year he wasn't.
Yeah, well, it's a shame that back in the days of the likes of James Hunt, I never really saw him. That was before my time of watching F1. But I kind of get the impression that somebody like James Hunt would have given Max Verstappen a fucking good hiding. Wouldn't have tolerated that shit. And that is probably what Max Verstappen needs in order to fucking behave himself in this sport.
Now everything at stake this year, maybe it was even more aggression, particularly with him ahead of Lewis in the standings. I don't think he's going to change. Maybe there was an element of really wanting the first title. Did Michael Schumacher mellow after 1994? I don't know if he really did.
And he's 24. If we imagine the driver that Lewis was at 24, we now see the depths that he's managed to draw out of himself this year in his mid-30s. I mean, what do we expect? What can we anticipate from Max Verstappen in the future?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know, how much higher can he go, and he combines that with aggression with intelligence, doesn't he? He plays.
What are we doing now? We're bestowing Max Verstappen with intelligence, are we? Young Jack here, this child, is bestowing Max Verstappen with intelligence. Right, okay. We're seeing somebody that's not applying, what's the word I'm looking for? Abiding by the rules of the sport, getting away with driving in a way that's not acceptable, driving in a way that has no consideration for his fellow competitors, their welfare, doesn't really give a shit about himself because he thinks he's invincible, and therefore they're trying to say, oh, he's that's his way and that's the way I'll do it and you won't change him. Well, if you don't change, you shouldn't be in the sport.
With the edge of the rules, but only because he's well aware of them and what he can get out of it. He goes right up to that limit and extracts the absolute maximum that he can.
No, he doesn't go right to the edge of the limit of the rules. He goes well beyond that. But what they do, they don't apply the rules. They let him get away with it. There are rules. He breaks them. They don't punish him. If there is no consequence for breaking the rules, people will carry on breaking the rules. See where this works? See how this shit works. If there is no consequence for breaking the rules, people will continue breaking the rules.
From it.
And really, Lewis is such an amazing Formula One driver, 7-time world champion, and they're neck and neck right now, and that's Max at 24 having...
You're trying to put Max neck and neck with Lewis at 24. This is fucking disgusting, right? Lewis has won 8 because that was his 8th. At that point, Max had won nothing because he'd just been gifted that. That's not a valid win at all. 8-0. And you say, oh, they're neck and neck. You are saying they are neck and neck. 8 championships to none, and you are saying these drivers are neck and neck.
7-time world champion, and they're neck and neck right now. And
right. So when Schumacher won here 7, and Sebastian Vettel got his first championship, did any commentator in the sport go, yeah, Seb Vettel is now neck and neck with Schumacher? Seb Vettel, now having won his first championship, is neck and neck with Michael Schumacher. Who said that? That would be nobody. But in this instance, Max Verstappen is neck and neck with Lewis Hamilton. And the fanboys are going, yeah, Super Max, the best ever. because you got a prick like this saying prick-like comments like that.
That's Max at 24, having now today won his first. Checo's a great driver, and he's not been able to get to Max's level. Maybe with more time in the team he can get there, but someone is going to need to challenge Max in the future, because Lewis hopefully can come back and give us a big fight. Maybe Ferrari could step up, or Lando, or Daniel, but he is just a cut above at the moment, I think, from a lot of others.
He's just a cut above. He's just a cut above. What have we just watched? We've just watched a Grand Prix, and apart from the tiny section where Perez was in the lead due to Hamilton pitting, and then Hamilton overtook him and Perez bust his gut to overtake Hamilton and blocked him off for a few seconds, Hamilton read the entirety of that race, and that race should have finished behind the safety car. And we're telling you, he's telling us that Verstappen's a cut above. What? Hamilton scored more points that season if the rules of the sport applied. Hamilton won 9 races that season if the rules of the sport applied. Max Verstappen only actually won 8. He got gifted the Belgian parade, so that's not a race win. He didn't win Abu Dhabi, so there's 8 race wins. Hamilton won 9 when you include Abu Dhabi, which was rightfully his. Even that statistic is irrelevant, because the only thing that matters is the most amount of points accumulated. And who did that? Lewis Hamilton. But Max Verstappen's a cut above, is he? How'd you work that one out?
And it's great that Lewis and him could go really hammer and tongs the whole season.
It's great that Lewis could go hammer and tong with this guy that's a cut above all season. Look at you boosting this made up fucking child that is now the greatest. The fucking golden child that has been created as this icon of a sport. It's manufactured.
Let's look then at the championships at the end of this 2021 Formula One season. Max Verstappen is the Formula One World Champion 2021. 395.5 points from Lewis Hamilton, 387.5.
See how we got these half points? Oh, that'd be from the Belgian parade. 2 laps behind the safety car where nobody can overtake, but somebody won. So you take your kids out for a walk in the park, right? Get them to line up one behind the other. Tell them nobody's allowed to overtake each other, right? Take them for a walk round the park, and then when you get back to the start, just turn around and say to the one that's first in line, "Well done, you won that." See what look they give you. They look at you as if you're a fucking lunatic. Good. You've got intelligent kids. If they start jumping up in the air in celebration and going, "Yay, I won," right? You've got retarded kids.
Valtteri Bottas.
But I blame you as the parent for the values that you've given those kids.
P3 Perez, P4 Carlos Sainz confirmed in 5th ahead of Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc, just slipping down there by 1 point behind Lando. Daniel Ricciardo, P8. Gasly, what a sensational season. We haven't really spoken about him, but a great season for him. P9 for Lando Alonso.
Another guy who's a great guy who's had a great season, who fully deserved it.
So in 10th for Alpine. Ocon finishes in 11th, then Vettel and Stroll, Tsunoda and Russell, an excellent P15. Then it's Raikkonen, Latifi, Giovinazzi, the Haas drivers of Schumacher and Mazepin. No points for them. Robert Kubica classified in 20th for that one race outing he had this year, in which he finished higher than Nikita Mazepin managed to do all season. In the Constructors' Championship, confirmation, and I misspoke earlier, believing Red Bull Racing had somehow managed to nick the Constructors' Championship. They haven't. It is all Mercedes. What a job they've done to win an 8th
Wasn't the only thing you misspoke about, mate.
consecutive Constructors' World Championship. Red Bull Racing in 2nd, Ferrari confirmed in 3rd ahead of McLaren, Alpine confirmed in 5th ahead of AlphaTauri, then Aston Martin, a disappointing season for them. Williams, excellent year for them, confirmed in 8th. Congratulations, Jack. 9th for Alfa Romeo, 10th for Haas with 0 points. And that, gang, I think is pretty much it. Guys, what a season it has been. What an incredible year. Your thoughts on 2021?
Want to do it again.
Don't we all?
It's just been magical, hasn't it? And
No.
we've had a few dominant years for Mercedes. Finally, this battle, not just the battle, but the races, some crazy races as well in there. Think of Hungary, and Lewis is the only driver on the grid, and Esteban Ocon gets a win. Some other shock results, Daniel Ricciardo's win at Monza. It's just had everything.
It has been phenomenal, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've been trying to tell people whenever I can, wherever I can, you have to start watching the F1 right now if you're not doing it, because this season is one of the best that we're going to see for a long time.
That's it, Jack. Be an influencer. Get a little bit of money for every time somebody buys some of the product.
Or have seen for a long time. You know, the amount of drama, the fact that we've had two drivers at the top of their game, two teams at the top of their game, going toe-to-toe, matched on points going into the final race. It's just unbelievable. We are really lucky to see something like that, actually.
It's been incredible. Folks, thank
That's it. You're all lucky to have seen what you've just seen. Wow, lucky you. You've just watched something that we've contrived and was corrupt, but you were lucky to watch it. Lucky you.
you so much for tuning in all the way through the year. We've appreciated your support, all of the comments and all of the notes, and just all of you.
And you've shown that by fucking everybody over and lying to them, you bastard. You fucking corrupt, lying, mind conditioning bastard.
You tuning in. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody behind the scenes that you don't get to see. JP, have a quick whip around. Show everybody that's here. JP, give me a whip around. He's not listening to you. He is. He's listening. Everybody here that works. We're a small team. Camera can't go all the way around. A small team on site here, but we love what we do, and we love bringing this show to you. To everybody back at base in Biggin Hill, St James's Market, to everybody in the paddock, Sam Collins and Lawrence Barretto, Rosanna Tennant, everybody who has hosted, everybody who has come on the show, everybody who has co-hosted on the show. Thank you guys so much. Folks, what a season it has been. Max Verstappen is your champion.
Let's all congratulate ourselves, shall we?
Mercedes have the team's title, and I think we are all off for a bit of a nap. It has been the longest Formula One season in history, and I'd wager probably the most exciting as well. Thanks for following along. We'll see you in 2022.
So it'll just be the highlights now and the fireworks. Incredible. Right. So that completes that video. You can go and watch the original, or you can watch the other parts of this, the 6-part analysis breaking down the bullshit that they say. And again, what we see, every media presentation where they are trying to interview people about what they think about the events of Abu Dhabi, it's the same shit, the same shit, the same shit, the same shit every time. And the strap-on fans, the kids that jump up in the comment section, they think they know. Why do they think they know? They think they know because they've watched that shit. Oh, these experts have told me this must be right. They don't have the cognitive ability to work shit out for themselves. They are susceptible to mind conditioning. They are vulnerable. They've got vulnerable minds. Their mind can be conditioned by lies. This is what this bastard sport has done. This is fucking dangerous. And I swear, and I apologise to those that are offended by swear words, but this is that serious. You need to understand the true implications of this. This is vile. This is disgusting. Their actions are truly heinous. The greater damage that this is having, and this extrapolates to every area of life in terms of what the media is doing for the conditioning of narratives. It is absolutely disgusting. Right, that'll do for this one. See you soon.